All right, welcome back, everyone. I hope you all have been enjoying the session so far. And welcome to the last session of the conference. Again, my name is Jasmine Winley, and I'm one of the assistant managers of event production here at the American Marketing Association. I am pleased to welcome you to this afternoon session, How Columbia Business School Creates Educational Experiences with Video Management. Before our session today, I'd like to do a friendly reminder of just going over the features that you can interact with during the session. On the right side of your screen, you can see a chat box. And of course, if you guys are networking and chatting, please continue to do so throughout this session. And if you have any questions, please enter them in the Q&A box, which is also located on the right hand of your screen. We will be answering questions at the end of this session. And with that, I am pleased to welcome this session's speakers for today, Lindsay Varghese, the Director of Content Strategy, Online and Digital Programs for Columbia Business School Executive Education, and Carly Hill, the Director of Growth Marketing for Media Valet. I'm here now to welcome both Lindsay and Carly.
Hi, everyone. Nice to be here. All right, I'm just going to quickly share my screen. All right, perfect. So yeah, again, hello, everyone, and welcome to our session on creating bespoke educational experiences with strategic video management. I'm Carly Hill. I'm the Director of Growth Marketing at Media Valet, and I'm joined today by Lindsay Varghese, the Director of Content Strategy, Online and Digital Programs at Columbia Business School Executive Education. So we'll be sharing her approach to video content strategy at Columbia Business School and how a DAM helps facilitate that strategy. So Lindsay, thank you so much for joining us to share your story today.
Thanks, Carly. I'm excited to share my experience with you all.
Absolutely. I'm sure everyone's excited to hear it. So to start us off, can you just share a bit about Columbia Business School Executive Education and your role there?
Sure. So we work with executives and we provide them with, tools, frameworks, and the learnings that they'll need to lead and excel. And these program topics cover leadership, strategy, innovation, finance, investing, and marketing, and a lot more. And one of the best parts about being part of the university is these programs are run by our faculty. So that means we get to blend scholarly research and more practical approaches so that execs can bring this back to their organizations. And our program formats are in-person, live online, and online. So on the online team, as a director of content strategy, I help define and refine our team strategy, help prioritize which topics we need to prioritize, and then essentially assess gaps and make recommendations for future program development to address those gaps.
Sounds like you have a big job to say the least. So can you tell us about your overarching content strategy and what you're doing with those various educational videos?
Sure. So since 2013, our team has produced about 4,000 plus video assets. And as you can imagine, when you have a catalog or a library that large, you need to understand your existing portfolio so you can leverage those assets. So once you understand the assets that you have, you can ensure that the content can be reused. You can't reuse content unless you know what's there. And repurposing allows us to acknowledge that initial effort we've put in, but also continue to use it in the future and beyond that.
Absolutely. So I know your solution that you originally had for managing these thousands and thousands of videos wasn't necessarily meeting your needs. What was really happening there that led you to look for a different solution? And what were some of the challenges that you were facing with managing that video?
Yeah, so, like I mentioned, we had such a rapid growth of our portfolio. And over the years, there was a bunch of team changes, non-standard record keeping and file storage procedures. So essentially, we had videos that were on Google Drive, they were on Dropbox, they were on physical drives, they were on shared drives. And that knowledge was, housed within specific people. And if they were to leave, that knowledge would go with them as well. So it definitely highlighted a need for our team to just have, a single source of truth, this one place where all of our assets were just easily accessible.
Absolutely. I think that's something that a lot of people on the call likely resonate with, that idea where you just have everything spread across a bunch of different solutions. So it's not even just, Google Drive and it's a bit unorganized. It's you have it in Google Drive, also in that hard drive that's in your bottom desk drawer or someone's bottom desk drawer, but you're not really sure who it is. So yeah, happy to hear that you led to find a different solution for that. Which led ultimately into your search for a better solution, and you ended up making the decision to go with a digital asset management system, namely Media Valley, obviously. So for those that are on the call today who may not know what a DAM is, I just want to take a quick moment to give a super brief overview, just so that you have some context going into some of the following questions and how Lindsay and Columbia Business School are using this solution. So a DAM is essentially a robust digital library that enables you to centralize, find, and manage all of your rich media assets. So things like photos, videos, graphics, your brand assets. So on top of something like a Google Drive, it offers enhanced search capabilities. So you can find your assets using things like keywords or leveraging AI generated tags. And it also provides more advanced sharing capabilities that really help you keep on brand so that you can share your assets without using something like a WeTransfer, which kind of isn't really well branded, or trying to do it over email. And then I think everyone has had the dreaded bounce when you try to send a file that's too large. So essentially, a DAM helps marketing teams or other departments deliver content at scale and maximize the ROI of their content. So, all right, now that I'm done that spiel, Lindsay, can you share a bit about how Columbia is using a DAM today?
Yeah, so we've had the dam for a little over a year, and we've definitely noticed, a lot of improvements in our workflow. So we're now able to just have a deep dive on all of our content. You'll see a screenshot on the presentation. That's a snapshot from our dam, and you'll see, all of our video assets. And we just are able to know what's in there. And there's reporting that allows us to see, we have content covering this area and that area. And we're able to determine, it's time to sunset this asset or, reuse this asset in another way. One of my favorite features is the search capabilities. So not only can we search within the title of the actual asset, but within the asset, which is great. And like I mentioned, now we're able to highlight those gaps that exist within our portfolio. And I think what's most important, utilizing a solution like this is you're not spending your time doing the admin side of things. You're not searching, you're not, looking in different locations. You're not wondering what a file is. You're just using your time for the creative side of things. Like, oh, I know what asset I want and I can grab it and I can continue. So it just allows us to skip a lot of steps that we used to be spending on previously. And then I think this also supports our custom projects. If we have a client that says, I need a topic in XYZ, we're able just to pull that, like a buffet, and just able to just share what we have. So far, so good.
Happy to hear that. So far, so good. You touched on it really briefly there, but with thousands of videos, I can imagine even some of the search capabilities that help you find the assets or things like keywords can help you kind of get there. But obviously, you're working with video assets that are multiple minutes long, sometimes up to hours long. So search capabilities are, I imagine, a big consideration when finding a solution. How are you leveraging video intelligence? So using things like face recognition, object detection, topic detection. How are you using it and how are you planning on using it?
Yeah, so, as we all know, the current buzzword is AI, and it's definitely not going anywhere. So what's great is we've been able to leverage those AI features using video intelligence. And my favorite so far are the AI generated transcripts. So you'll see one of our speakers on your screen. On the right is an automatically transcribed portion of what she's saying. And you can just search within these transcripts. And it's great. Like if you want a video for marketing or for socials and you need to search, global warming, you're able to search for that, pull the timestamp that you have and just, clip the video as needed. And like Carly mentioned, when you have thousands of videos, you don't have the luxury of watching every one. So it's great to just be able to search and pull what you need. And there's also an automatic tag feature, which is great. We, of course, do our own manual tagging, but it's great that the system can also add additional tags that we may not think of, just so that in the end, you're just able to know what you have and search with those tag features.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know other organizations are really leveraging this in a few different ways. So face recognition is a a huge component that people are leveraging so that, you know, if you're in one of the videos, for example, you can tag Lindsay Varghese in one video, and then it's going to get tagged across every other video among the 4,000 that you're tagged in. And then another huge area that people really like to leverage is the translation. So for example, this one that you have up here, you could translate it into over 60 different languages. So if someone isn't necessarily a native English speaker, they're able to translate it into the language of their choice and that they're comfortable learning in, which I think is really incredible.
So basically you're saying I have a lot more to do with video intelligence, but yeah, it's really robust and we're excited to keep using it.
Absolutely. And you are still early in your journey, so still a lot to come, I'm sure. All right. And do you have a story that you can share where having a dam in place made a difference with a project or a task? I know you have one specifically around branded portals.
Yeah, for sure. So when we used to share video assets, more often than not, I'd be sending out Google links to clients or partners or, you know, other team or faculty members. And this would have to mean I'd be sending out a link, making sure they have access, making sure, you know, sharing permissions and everything is correct. And sometimes clients weren't able to log in or they just didn't want to access it via, you know, Google Drive. So I think a great thing about branded portals, it just allows us to share a more elegant experience with people we work with. For example, on the screen, you'll see like we have our logo on the top left. The header has, you know, a campus building, which is Kravis. And then there's text all over the page, you know, titles, additional context. And if you were to scroll further in the screen, if this wasn't a screenshot, obviously, you would see that there was multiple sections and you're able to search within those sections. And I think my favorite part of all is that no one needs to log in to any system. They're just able to click the link and go, which I think is great. And we're able to revoke access to this branded portal as needed. So if we want people to have access to these assets for a short period of time, we can do that, or we could just leave it. So I think it just ties back to the whole experience. It matches our website, it matches our email signatures, and I just think it just keeps us branded from A to Z, which is great.
Yeah, absolutely. I can imagine, especially with working with video, having that all be able to be in one portal where you can share it as an individual link rather than multiple links is really helpful. And then just to mention, obviously you have the video use case, but a lot of people also use it for media kits, for example. So you can share your logos, your brand colors, things like that. And then also sales packages is another common use case in higher education. So just promoting different topics, different things like that. So amazing. All right. And then I think one of the big questions of the day is how has the strategy around video management impacted your educational offering, and what are some of the outcomes that you've seen?
So we can definitely more easily share our content amongst like our team, our department and school. And as an admin, I can control the sharing process in a way that previously was very cumbersome before. Previously, I was submitting tickets and having to bug IT to help me with, you know, XYZ. But now I'm in the driver's seat with a lot of those decisions and I'm able to just, you know, do things a lot more quickly. Like I mentioned, like expiration dates and enabling and revoking access. And I also just generally have a better understanding of video content. I joined the team in 2018, which means there was about, you know, 4 years or so of content that I didn't have a part in building. But this process has allowed me to get, you know, have a better relationship with our assets that I wasn't directly involved with. But I just now know what's there, which is great. It helps me fill in the gaps and the blanks for things I wasn't part of. And it just increases the likelihood of things being reused. And when I was explaining a DAM to someone else who was curious, I would say it's kind of like having a closet. Instead of keeping all your clothes in bins and boxes, you're just hanging everything in front of you. And I think when something's in front of you, you're just more likely to use it. So it just really allows us to use our assets continually, which I think is important in such a video-based team.
Absolutely. I love that closet analogy. I think it makes a perfect visual for what a DAM is and the value that it has. Right. Is there any advice that you can offer to other higher ed institutions or different departments that are looking to leverage their educational content better?
So when I began this process, I had a few pain points, like I'd mentioned previously. But I think it's important to understand how the other people around you are affected, including your team or your department or people you plan to work with. You'd be surprised about their own pain points. You should never assume that your challenges are their challenges. So we did little mini focus groups. We sent out surveys just to get a better understanding of what the process, the file sharing process was like for them and their library process. Two, taking the time to do your research. We spent about 6 months researching our DAM options. There's so many great options out there. We actually started out with 20, and we had a short list of 5, and then we had 2 finalists. And it was important for us to understand what was out there, what our needs were, and what solutions there were. And if you work for higher ed organizations, you know it's important to share rationale for why you need budget for the specific tool. So that I think research really helps you make that informed decision. And then I would say lastly, it's important to think about your library structure right from the beginning. It might be tempting to be like, okay, I'm just going to dump all my assets there in at one time and I'll figure out a structure after. But if you even start just lightly thinking about how the assets should be organized from the beginning, it'll save you a little bit of a headache later down the line. And the way I like to see it is, if I create this library structure, of course, I'm going to understand it. But the real important thing is, if I were to leave or someone on my team was supposed to leave, the structure should make sense to anyone, no matter when they've joined. So a great library structure just allows everyone to understand what's there and how to find assets, no matter our place in the team.
Absolutely. I think that that last piece of advice in particular is really, really critical. So making sure you're looking at what does your library look like now, but also what does it look like in 5 years, in 10 years, and making sure you're building out a category structure that meets your needs of today and your needs of the future. So really well done there. All right. So thank you so much, Lindsay, for sharing the details about your video strategy and how DAM is helping out your team. I think I speak for everyone when I say that it was highly valuable to those on the call today and those looking to do something similar with their own educational content. That being said, we will jump into a couple of questions. So let me just take a look and see what we have. I'm just going to stop sharing quickly. All right.
If you guys have any questions, feel free to continue to drop them in the chat. We have one that just came in, so I'm putting them in now.
All right, this sounds like it would maybe a you question, Lindsay, but let me know and I can jump in as well. What is the process when you need to change the name or metadata of a file within the system?
So you're able to easily select a singular asset or multiple assets and rename that information as needed. You're able to just open the file and change metadata very easily, and then you can just go through an entire library folder if you need to. So yeah, the process is very simple, and as someone with 4,000 assets, that's very important to be able to do things in bulk and have bulk actions.
For sure. And I actually have a story that I can share. For example, we have a customer that we worked with, or we still work with today, but did an interview with him a few years ago. And for example, he was saying that as you're kind of learning how people search for solutions. So for example, he would describe someone as happy. And then we'd find out that other people are searching for smile, for example. So he would search everyone that is tagged with the keyword happy. So what he thought was, I'm going to call it the correct keyword or the appropriate keyword. And then he would select all of them and then just add the smile keyword. So you can bulk add if there's a keyword, for example, that others are searching for when you thought it was happy, maybe should have been smile, then you can add it in there really easily with just about 2 steps. All right, and then does the DAM allow for embedding for hosting on websites, etc.? I think that's probably more of a me question. Yes, we have CDN linking is our primary capability for embedding things onto websites. So that makes it so you're able to do it on any website that you have. We also have an integration with WordPress. So if you're specifically using WordPress, you're able to just quickly drag and drop files into there. All right. And then someone is asking Lindsay how you manage version control if you do. Otherwise, I can jump in there as well. Just mentioning that they work with a lot of clients who struggle with version control.
Yeah, so in the post-production process, it's definitely a headache sometimes managing version control. And you want to make sure everyone's seeing the most accurate, up to date, no matter what you're working on. So if you replace a file in Media Valet, everyone will see the latest and greatest version of that. So I think the link remains the same, but you could replace the asset, which is great. So they're only going to see the files that you want them to see.
Yeah, and just something to mention as well, it's a great thing with branded portals in particular. So if you do share a branded portal that has a ton of assets, especially in an instance like a media kit where you're sharing your logos, if you did update any of the assets that are in the branded portal within your Media Valet library, it'll automatically update in the portal. So anyone that has one of your branded portals is continually working with the up-to-date version as well as those that are working directly in your library. All right, and then I have a question that would be for me around, does Media Valet allow any editing of videos in the system beyond cutting clips? The answer there is no, we do not have video editing, but we do have an integration with Adobe Premiere. So if you're specifically using Adobe, you're able to edit video clips within there. And then it looks like that's maybe all of the questions, Jasmine, unless there's something coming through on your side. Maybe give a couple more minutes there, a couple more seconds for any last minute questions.
Right, I'm checking now to see if there's any last minute ads. Okay, so we have one. I'll just go ahead and read it. What does your internal video team look like at Columbia? And do the video people reformat the footage before uploading to reduce file sizes, or are the clips straight from the camera?
So we currently don't upload raw footage at the moment. Our library is just finished material. But Carly, I don't know if there's anything you can add about that.
Yeah, I guess I could speak to, we have an organization in the entertainment industry. So they're working with a ton of episodes for like the videos that or episodes of different TV shows that they have. So what they did is they basically like brought it down to an MP4 size to upload into their Media Valet library, especially with like the use cases that you typically have in a DAM, especially with it being cloud-based. Like a lot of times it's, you can call it not prudent to upload these massive files, like it's going to eat into a lot of your cloud storage, but really getting it into a file size where it enables those kind of expanded teams to make use of it. So for that specific use case, they were looking to leverage all their episodes in like social media content and different marketing content. So bringing it down to MP4 made it with an appropriate size while they were still able to take advantage of what a cloud-based DAM can bring. And Lindsay, this sounds like it's maybe for you. How long did the process of the video library creation take?
So we've spent the past year on it. It doesn't mean that it'll take a year for you, but for us, it was the process of coming up with our, structure, our file naming convention. I think the longest part was sourcing the assets because we had so many different locations. And actually even hard drives in different campus buildings and individual users. So that was the longest part. So the easiest part was actually just uploading everything. Once we had everything, where we needed it to, locating it was uploading it was a very fast process. But we definitely took our time with the organizational process, and I think it was worth it in the end, the time spent on it.
And then there's also a question around the max size for individual files and for the total library storage capacity. I don't have it off the top of my head. I know it used to be 500 gigabytes was the max individual file size, but I believe that has improved very recently. And then for the total library storage capacity, out of the box is around 5 petabytes. So a ton of storage. And then there are some levers that we can pull to increase that as well if you have a massive file size, but we have yet to see one that's quite that large. And then just the last question, are review links a possibility as a share option, or is this best used for final files? I can jump in there. It is best used for final files. So a lot of times if you're wanting to actually see something get reviewed, we'll usually recommend working with like a project management solution. So something like a Wrike, a Monday, and doing the review through there. That being said, there are always new integrations coming out. One that is soft launching is with Mark, who is like an in-app templating solution. So there are some review capabilities in there that are going to be coming out soon.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I was going to say that looks like all of the questions that were entered in. Yeah, Lindsay and Carly, thank you so much again for this wonderful presentation. And thank you, Media Valet, for sponsoring this session. Thank you, everyone, for attending. This video, again, will be available on demand later today, right here in the platform under the schedule tab. And now I will be announcing the winners for the gift cards. Hold on one second. Sorry. Okay, perfect. Lauren Hunshamer, Hannah Ratliff, Craig Wishner, Eric Watkins. I will be entering those in the chat. So congratulations. I'll put those names in the chat again. You will be receiving an email from me later today with the gift card attached. Again, thank you all for just joining us for this virtual conference. All sessions will be available for 6 months on the on-demand page, which is under the schedule tab. You will have access to the slides, have access to the chats, have access to the sessions again. And as we wrap up, we want to also keep the momentum going, and don't forget to save the date for the highly anticipated 2024 AMA Symposium for the Marketing of Higher Education that is set to take place in Las Vegas in November. So with that, take care. And again, thank you so much, Carly and Lindsay, for being with us today.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good day.
Bye.